Hello students of 8th class. Now we are going to study and learn chapter number 3 of history, and this is your last chapter of history, and then we shall enter into civics. In civics we have only one chapter. So the third chapter name is American Civil War. American Civil War. You can see the Civil War's picture here. Yes. Students, American Civil War. Let me tell you one thing. What was the background of Civil War? Civil War, first let me tell you the meaning, because this is first part. So in the first part, I'll tell you the meaning and everything, the background, the introduction, and then the introduction in the Civil War and the northern states and southern states. The whole I will explain you. So what is Civil War? The people or the armed forces revolting or having a mutiny against the Britishers, the existing government of the country. Again I will tell, a civil war is a war between the government and the armed forces, or between the government and the people. That means war within the country. So students, I told you in the last chapter, that is chapter 2, that American when they got independence from Britishers, they formed a loose kind of confederacy. Loose kind of confederacy. I mentioned in my lecture this thing. What is a loose kind of confederacy? That means all 13 states, 13 colonies came together. 30 colonies came together to form the union, make American colonies as a one, called USA, United States of America. So we can see here in the map, I have divided into, this is a western part and this is a eastern part, and these are the states: Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, Carolina. These are the southern states who wanted to get separated from the union in this chapter. That's why Civil War took place. Okay, that's why I spoke to you that they formed a loose kind of confederacy. Okay, so this is a background. They formed a loose kind of a confederacy. That means 13 colonies came together, states came together to form the union. That's called confederacy or a federal government. Civil War took place. Let's discuss now. So this, let me draw roughly American map, USA. This is the northern part and this is the southern part. Northern and southern. Students, Civil War began 1861 to 1865. It began 1861, ended 1865. And this is called armed conflicts. This is called armed conflicts. That means war took place between the southern states and the northern states. Northern states supported the union and southern states wanted to secede, get separated from the from the union government. Now, students, let me tell you, I often give, whenever I teach the world history, I give the example of India. Now, if Kashmir want to secede from the union, from India, and nobody expect that Kashmir should be seceded or get separated. No such state should be get separated. It breaks the unity of a particular country. So that's why there was a civil war here. So we are going to study the causes. We are going to study in the introduction, we are going to study the causes. That is I have formed your chapter, I had divided into northern states and southern states, a tabular form. Northern states and southern states. Students, northern states, we are going to discuss differences. Because when there are some differences, then only some events, some conflict take place. When there are some differences. So, here students, northern states were industrialized. Southern states were industrialized. And southern states were mostly agricultural. Tobacco, cotton, sugarcane. So, these things were grown in the southern states. Northern states, due to industrialization, were developed and progressed. And most of the economy depended. So, northern states were developed and progressed, and they depended on they were generally backward, the southern states, and tobacco, sugarcane, these things were grown. In northern states, slavery had been abolished. There were paid laborers. The laborers were paid with handsome salary and wages. But whereas in southern states, still southern states practiced slavery. There were slaves to work in their fields, in the southern states field. They did not want to abolish slavery, whereas northern states wanted to abolish slavery. They considered a bloat on Americans. So, fourth, northern states wanted to abolish slavery, I told you already. And southern states were not in favor of abolishing the slavery, because their whole economy depended on slaves. So, fifth point, northern states wanted to give more power to union government. That is why unity is there. Now in India, who has the more power in India, states or the union? Yes, it is union who has the more power than the states. Whereas southern states wanted that central law could be rejected. If union government makes a law for them, they wanted that southern states or states can reject the law made by the union. And sixth point, Abraham Lincoln stood for as a candidate to be a president of India. Sorry students, Abraham Lincoln stood as a candidate for the presidency election for USA, not India, for USA, from the Republican Party. And Stephen Douglas stood for as another candidate opposing Abraham Lincoln. Now, Abraham Lincoln in his speeches had spoken to the Americans that he was in favor of abolishing the slavery system, whereas Stephen Douglas supported slavery. So southern states will like whom? Abraham Lincoln or the Stephen Douglas? They will, of course, they will vote for Stephen Douglas. But who won the election? Abraham Lincoln. With this southern states, these are the causes over. Events took place. Southern states seceded from the Union. Southern states seceded from the Union. And President Lincoln declared blockade. He blocked all the way to stop the economy of the Union. War began. Civil War began in 1861. The war was taking place. There was a lot of casualties, lot of loss of life. And then President cleverly announced, declared the proclamation of emancipation. Means with the proclamation of emancipation, automatically he announced that in all the states of America, slavery will be abolished. So with this, many southern states who revolted gave up fighting, gave up civil war, and the war ended. What was the result? That we will discuss. The war ended. There was a lot of loss of life. Destruction took place in southern states, and it took a long time to again develop the economy of the southern states. Now, what is the significance of the war? It protected the unity and the federal system of USA. And with this, slavery was abolished. And President gave a new definition of democracy. He told that democracy is government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So with this, the whole world came to know about democracy. And Abraham Lincoln played a great role, but he was assassinated by one of the actors of USA. But he is remembered for his hard work, even for his poverty and struggle. So that's all from the introduction of the chapter. We shall study in detail in the second part. Thank you.